Hello, it's 4 News O'Clock on Whole News Nigeria. I am Okwemi Olugbemi. Here are the headlines for today. United States urges citizens to leave Sudan in 48 hours. Former United States Vice President testifies against Trump. Now the news in detail. As the first battle between factions in Sudan bites harder, the White House, through its spokesperson, Karine Jean-Pierre, urged its citizens to leave the warring country within 24 to 48 hours. According to her, the situation in Sudan could worsen at any moment.
We are working continuously to create options for American citizens to leave Sudan promptly because the situation could deteriorate at any moment, and we are communicating with citizens who have requested information about those options. Any option entails a degree of risk. But because the situation is unlikely to improve, we encourage Americans who want to leave to take advantage of the options that are available to them in the next 24 to 48 hours. While there was an initial reduction in reports of violence, we are deeply concerned by the increase in ceasefire violations yesterday. We urge the SAF and the RSF to fully uphold and extend the ceasefire.
In addition to deploying intelligence and surveillance resources, the United States is also moving naval assets within the region, positioning them to provide any necessary support along the Sudanese coast. Jean-Pierre's announcement came shortly before Sudan's Rapid Support Forces (RSF) paramilitary group agreed to extend a truce for 72 hours following battles with the Sudanese army in Khartoum on Thursday. The army on Wednesday said it agreed to a new 3-day ceasefire through to Sunday, following one due to expire on Thursday night. On Thursday, the military reiterated it would extend the truce and said it would honor it unilaterally. Responding for the first time, the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces said on Thursday it too approved another 72-hour truce starting on Friday. Hundreds have died and tens of thousands of people have fled for their lives in 2 weeks of conflict between the army and the RSF. The ongoing conflict has transformed residential areas into war zones, forcing tens of thousands of people to flee for their lives. The power struggle between the army and RSF has led to the deaths of hundreds of individuals in nearly 2 weeks, threatening to destabilize the wider region. In other news, former United States President Mike Pence on Thursday testified before a federal grand jury in Washington about Donald Trump's effort to overturn the 2020 election result, according to a source familiar with the matter, a day after an appeals court rejected a last-ditch motion to block his appearance. The former vice president's testimony lasted for around 7 hours and took place behind closed doors, meaning the details of what he told the prosecutors hearing evidence in the case remains uncertain. His appearance is a moment of constitutional consequence and potential legal peril for the former president. Pence is considered a major witness in the criminal investigation led by special counsel Jack Smith, since Trump pressured him to unlawfully reject electoral college votes for Joe Biden at the joint session of Congress, and it was at the White House meeting with Republican lawmakers who discussed objections to Biden's win. The government has been trying to get Pence's testimony for months, starting with requests from the Justice Department last year and then through a grand jury subpoena issued by Smith, who inherited a complicated criminal investigation into Trump's efforts to stay in power. We recall that Trump is also in court over a rape lawsuit by Ms. Carroll, a writer and former advice columnist for Elle magazine. Decades after she was allegedly raped by a New York real estate mogul who would go on to be the 45th president of the United States, Agent Carroll is getting her day in court. Ms. Carroll has claimed that Mr. Trump raped her in a dressing room at the Bergdorf Goodman department store in Manhattan in the mid-1990s. And that's it on today's news. To keep up with All News Nigeria, kindly follow us on all social media platforms displayed on the screen. We'll be back with more news updates next week. Until then, stay tuned. I am Okwemi Olugbemi. Do have a lovely weekend.